20 Best Harley-Davidson Motorcycles of All Time. Harley-Davidson. Two words that don't just describe a motorcycle, they describe over 120 years of American thunder, rebellion, and freedom on two wheels. From a tiny wooden shed in Milwaukee in 1903 to the highways of the modern world, this brand has built machines that changed history, shaped culture, and made grown men cry at the sound of an engine. Today, we are counting down the 20 best Harley-Davidson motorcycles of all time. The bikes that didn't just turn heads, they turned the entire industry upside down. Stick around, because the number one spot might just surprise you. Number 20, Harley-Davidson Milwaukee-Eight touring models from 2017 to the present. The modern masterpiece. Let's open this list with the motorcycle that best represents everything Harley-Davidson has become. Introduced in 2017, the Milwaukee-Eight engine was described by Harley's chief engineer as a brand new motor, tip to tail. It is the 9th generation big twin in Harley history, and it solved virtually every complaint riders had about the twin cam it replaced. 4 valves per cylinder, 10% more torque, 75% less vibration at idle, and significantly improved cooling. The Milwaukee-Eight 107 and 114 debuted in the 2017 Street Glide, Road Glide, Road King, and Electra Glide Ultra Classic. The 2025 Street Glide now carries an upgraded Milwaukee-Eight 117 engine. These bikes carry the weight of every Knucklehead, Panhead, Shovelhead, and Evolution engine that came before them, and they carry it forward better than any Harley ever has. But if this is number 20, just imagine what is waiting further up the list. Number 19, Harley-Davidson Versatility V-Rod from 2002 to 2017, the most controversial Harley ever built. The V-Rod is the most divisive motorcycle in Harley-Davidson's entire history, and that is exactly what earns it a spot here. Introduced in 2002, the Versatility V-Rod broke every rule Harley had followed for nearly a century. At its heart was the Revolution engine, a 1,130 cubic centimeter, 60-degree, liquid-cooled V-twin with dual overhead cams and a 9,000 RPM redline, co-engineered with Porsche. The result was approximately 115 to 123 horsepower, figures that shattered everything traditional Harley cruisers could deliver. The design was equally radical, with a low-slung, drag racing-inspired profile, a fuel tank hidden beneath the seat, and a hydroformed frame unlike anything in Harley-Davidson's lineup. Traditional purists were outraged, and performance riders were thrilled. The V-Rod was discontinued in 2017 after 16 years of production, but its legacy is undeniable. It proved that Harley-Davidson could build a world-class performance motorcycle, and it remains one of the most visually stunning bikes in American history. Could the next entry be equally bold? Keep watching. Number 18, Harley-Davidson EL Knucklehead, 1936 to 1947, the motorcycle that saved Harley-Davidson. The 1936 Harley-Davidson EL Knucklehead is one of the most significant motorcycles in history. Built during the Great Depression, it arrived at a moment when Harley-Davidson desperately needed to outrun its arch-rival, Indian motorcycles. The Knucklehead was Harley's first mass-produced overhead valve big twin. The valve covers resembled the knuckles of a closed fist, and they gave the engine its legendary nickname. The overhead valve design produced 40 horsepower at 4,800 revolutions per minute, with a top speed of 110 miles per hour. It also featured a new recirculating oil system, a 4-speed transmission, and a twin down-tube frame. An estimated 41,000 Knuckleheads were built between 1936 and 1947, making surviving examples rare and highly prized today. The Knucklehead set the template for Harley's entire big twin identity, the blueprint for the Panhead, Shovelhead, Evolution, Twin Cam, and Milwaukee-Eight engines that followed. Its DNA runs through every Harley-Davidson ever built since, a true giant of the list, and we are only just getting started. Number 17, Harley-Davidson FLSTF Fat Boy, 1990 to present. The Fat Boy is more than a motorcycle, it is a cultural phenomenon. Designed by Willie G. Davidson and Louis Netz, the Fat Boy debuted in 1990 after 2 full years of testing. Willie G. personally rode prototypes to Daytona Bike Week in 1988 and 1989 to gather real-world feedback before the official launch. The first Fat Boy was immediately recognizable, a silver-gray paint scheme, solid disc aluminum wheels inspired by steamrollers, shotgun exhausts, balanced fenders, and a massive low-slung stance powered by the 1,340 cubic centimeter Evolution Vibe Twin. Then in 1991, Arnold Schwarzenegger rode a Fat Boy in Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and overnight, the motorcycle became a global icon. The Fat Boy has been in continuous production ever since, receiving engine updates, including the twin cam and the Milwaukee-Eight in 2018. Over 30 years later, it remains one of the most recognizable Harleys on the planet. There are even Lego sets dedicated to it, a sign of true cultural immortality. Up next, a motorcycle that defined the very idea of the American road trip. Number 16, Harley-Davidson Road King. From 1994 to present, the perfect balance. The Road King occupies a unique and deeply beloved position in Harley's lineup, full touring capability with the classic stripped-down styling of a true American cruiser. First introduced in 1994, it was designed to fill a gap in the market, offering touring performance without the massive fixed fairing of the Electra Glide. The original FLHR was powered by the 1,340 cubic centimeter Evolution engine and featured a nostalgic design reminiscent of the 1960s Electra Glide with a large headlamp, chrome nacelle, hard saddlebags, and wire spoke wheels. The removable windshield and clean lines gave it a versatility the big tourers simply could not match. Since 1994, the Road King has received every major engine update, the twin cam 88, electronic fuel injection, and ultimately the Milwaukee-Eight, while staying true to its core design philosophy. Over 30 years of uninterrupted production and a devoted global following speak to just how well Harley got this one right. Number 15, Harley-Davidson Sportster XL from 1957 to 2021, the gateway to Harley, and so much more. For nearly 70 years, the Harley-Davidson Sportster was the entry point into Harley ownership, but calling it a beginner's bike dramatically undersells its legacy. Introduced in 1957 as Harley's answer to the faster, lighter British motorcycles from Triumph, BSA, and Norton that were threatening American dominance, the XL Sportster was dubbed the father of the superbikes. The original 1957 model featured a 55 cubic inch, 883 cubic centimeter overhead valve V-twin in a stripped-down, performance-focused package that was lighter and faster than anything Harley had previously built. Through the decades, the Sportster evolved through the iconic Ironhead engine, the Evolution engine upgrade in 1986, and eventually the Sportster S with the Revolution Max engine in 2021. It has been a racer, a cruiser, a chopper base, a cafe racer, and a custom builder's blank canvas, arguably the most versatile Harley ever made. After 64 continuous years in production, the original Sportster line holds the distinction of being one of the longest continuously produced motorcycles in history. Next up, the bike that made touring an art form. If you enjoy this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Number 14, Harley-Davidson FL Electra Glide 1965, the king of the road, literally. Few motorcycles have earned a nickname as fitting as the king of the road, and the Electra Glide has deserved every inch of it since 1965. The 1965 FL Electra Glide was a watershed moment in touring motorcycle history. It was the first FL Harley to feature an electric starter, finally ending the era of kick-starting these massive machines. Weighing in at 800 pounds with 55 horsepower, the original Electra Glide was an absolute powerhouse for its time. It featured a 12-volt electrical system, a larger gas tank than any previous model, and an optional King of the Highway package with hard saddlebags, a removable windshield, a luggage rack, and chrome accessories. The Electra Glide also became the quintessential law enforcement motorcycle, immortalized in the 1973 film Electra Glide in Blue. It set the template for everything we think of as a touring motorcycle today, and it remains one of the most classic collector's bikes in existence. The Electra Glide is not just a motorcycle, it is the definition of two-wheeled luxury travel. Number 13, Harley-Davidson Shovelhead, 1966 to 1984. The Rebels engine. The Shovelhead is the engine most associated with outlaw biker culture, the open road, and the rebellious spirit of American motorcycling. Introduced in 1966 as the successor to the Panhead, the Shovelhead got its name from its distinctive rocker boxes, which looked exactly like inverted coal shovels. At its heart, the Shovelhead was a Panhead with a completely new top end, featuring aluminum alloy heads that Harley-Davidson claimed produced a 10% power increase over its predecessor. Displacement started at 74 cubic inches and was increased to 80 cubic inches in 1978. Over 17 years of production, the Shovelhead powered some of Harley-Davidson's most iconic models, including the Electra Glide and the early Super Glides. The Shovelhead's reputation as a temperamental machine that required hands-on mechanical attention only added to its mystique. These were bikes for people who understood them, loved them, and lived with their quirks. For an entire generation of riders, the Shovelhead is not just an engine, it is a lifestyle. Number 12, Harley-Davidson Panhead, 1948 to 1965. Old school cool defined. The Panhead earned its nickname from the upturned, pan-shaped aluminum valve covers on its engine, and it earned its legendary status from nearly 2 decades of setting the standard for American motorcycle performance. Introduced in 1948 as the successor to the Knucklehead, the Panhead featured aluminum cylinder heads and hydraulic lifters, which offered better cooling and dramatically reduced the oil leak problems that had plagued earlier Harleys. Produced from 1948 to 1965, the Panhead was available in displacements of 61 and 74 cubic inches and, by its final years, produced up to 60 horsepower. It powered the legendary Hydra Glide in 1949, the Duo Glide in 1958, and ultimately the original Electra Glide in 1965. The Panhead is the embodiment of Harley-Davidson old school cool, the engine that defined the brand's golden age and powered the bikes of early outlaw riders and free spirits throughout the cultural revolution of the 1950s and early 1960s. It remains one of the most visually striking and beloved engines in Harley history. Number 11, Harley-Davidson XR750 from 1970 to present, the most successful racing motorcycle in American history. The Harley-Davidson XR750 is, without question, the most decorated racing motorcycle in American motorsport history. Designed in response to a 1969 American Motorcyclist Association rules change that threatened Harley's dominance, the XR750 was born out of urgency, and it became a legend. The 748 cubic centimeter air-cooled V-twin produced approximately 82 horsepower and a top speed of 115 miles per hour. From the 1970s through the 2000s, riders on XR750s won over 500 races sanctioned by the American Motorcyclist Association. Jay Springsteen alone won 43 nationals and 3 consecutive American Motorcyclist Association Grand National Championships between 1976 and 1978. The XR750 was also the motorcycle of Evel Knievel, who used it from December 1970 until his final jump in January 1977. One of Knievel's XR750s now sits in the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History. It was featured in the prestigious 1998 Art of the Motorcycle exhibition, cementing its status as a cultural artifact as much as a racing tool. Up next, a bike that hid its genius beneath a flawless exterior. Number 10, Harley-Davidson Heritage Softail Classic 1986. Rolling nostalgia. If any motorcycle can make a rider feel like they have traveled back to 1948, it is the Heritage Softail Classic. Introduced in 1986, the Heritage Softail built on the FXST platform by combining the classic look of the 1940s and 1950s Harleys with fully modern technology underneath. Wire-spoke wheels, nostalgic round headlights, leather saddlebags, and balanced fenders gave it the unmistakable look of a Hydra Glide or Duo Glide from Harley's golden era, while the Evolution engine and hidden rear suspension delivered a smooth, modern riding experience. It became an immediate favorite among riders who wanted nostalgia without sacrifice. The Heritage Softail Classic represents Harley-Davidson's unique ability to honor its own past while moving forward, a balance few brands in any industry have ever managed as well. It is rolling nostalgia in the truest sense of the word. And the next motorcycle on our list is the engineering genius that made it all possible. Number 9. Harley-Davidson FXST Softail, 1984. Hidden suspension, timeless style. The Softail is one of the most ingenious engineering ideas in motorcycle history. In the early 1980s, an engineer named Bill Davis developed a way to make a motorcycle that looked like a rigid hardtail from the 1950s, while secretly hiding a modern rear suspension system beneath the frame. Davis sold his concept to Harley-Davidson, which refined it and released the FXST Softail in 1984. The timing was perfect. The Softail launched alongside the debut of the new 1,340 cubic centimeter Evolution engine. The result was revolutionary. Riders got the classic aesthetic of a vintage chopper combined with the comfort and reliability of a modern bike. The triangulated swing arm and hidden shocks created the visual appeal of a vintage hardtail with the ride quality of a contemporary motorcycle. The Softail platform became one of Harley-Davidson's most successful ever, spawning legendary models like the Fat Boy, the Heritage Softail Classic, the Breakout, and the Night Train. Over 30 years of production, the hidden shock design remained the defining feature, a testament to just how brilliant the original concept truly was. Number 8. Harley-Davidson FXS Low Rider, 1977. The best-selling big twin of its era. Following the Super Glide success, Willie G. Davidson struck gold again in 1977 with the FXS Low Rider, a motorcycle that became the best-selling big twin in Harley-Davidson's entire lineup. Unveiled at Daytona Bike Week in 1977, the Low Rider was an instant sensation. It accounted for 20% of all Harley-Davidson sales in 1978. The concept was brilliant in its simplicity. Take the Super Glide framework and give it the worked-over look of a professional chopper with a dramatically lowered 27-inch seat height, wide drag bars, and cast wheels. The ad copy called it one mean machine, and riders agreed instantly. The Low Rider nameplate has been one of Harley's most enduring, surviving in various forms across 5 different platforms from 1977 to the present day. This speaks volumes about Willie G. Davidson's original vision, a motorcycle built entirely for image that still managed to change the game. Could the next entry have been equally image-defining? Absolutely, and then some. Number 7. Harley-Davidson FX Super Glide, 1971. The first factory custom. The 1971 FX Super Glide is one of the most historically significant Harleys ever made, born entirely from the creative genius of Willie G. Davidson. In an era when chopper culture was exploding across America, Harley-Davidson responded not with a standard cruiser, but with the world's first factory custom motorcycle. The FX designation combined the F of the big Electra Glide with the X of the Sportster, using the Sportster front end mated to the Electra Glide massive frame and engine. The result was a leaner, meaner machine that captured the chopper spirit without custom modification. The original boat-tail rear fender was controversial and replaced after just 1 year, but the Super Glide's impact was permanent. It spawned the Low Rider, the Fat Bob, the Wide Glide, and countless other iconic models. As Willie G. wrote, if the Super Glide was the seed of Harley-Davidson customs, the Low Rider was the flower. What grew from that same soil? Find out next. Number 6. Harley-Davidson XLCR 1000 Cafe Racer 1977, the rebel that became a collector's dream. The XLCR 1000 was not exactly a sales hit when it launched in 1977. That is exactly why it belongs on this list. Designed by Willie G. Davidson, the XLCR was unlike any Harley before it. A stripped-down, cafe-style machine with a bikini fairing, a single racing seat, and a dirt track tank grafted onto a Sportster frame. Only about 2,000 units were produced in 1977, making it an instant rarity. Traditionalist Harley fans were confused. This was not the big, chrome-loaded cruiser they expected. But over the decades, the XLCR became a cult classic and a highly prized collectible. Original 1977 XLCR models are now worth over $20,000, and the bike's influence on cafe racer culture has never faded. The XLCR proved that Harley-Davidson could surprise the world, and that the market does not always get it right the first time. Sometimes, the bikes that the world ignores become the ones history remembers. Can the same be said for the next motorcycle on our list? Let's find out. Number 5. Harley-Davidson KR750 1953 to 1969. Racing royalty before the XR. Before the legendary XR750, there was the KR750, and this bike was absolutely dominant on American racetracks for nearly 2 decades. The KR750 featured a 45 cubic inch V-twin engine that produced approximately 57 horsepower and a top speed of 125 miles per hour. What made its record so remarkable was that it was available essentially as a production race bike. Riders could buy it directly and take it straight to the track. The results speak for themselves. The KR750 won the AMA Grand National Championship 12 out of the first 13 years the series was contested. That is a domination record that few racing machines in history can match. It was the foundation that made the XR750 possible, and it made Harley-Davidson synonymous with American flat-track racing glory long before most people realize. The KR750 rarely gets the headlines it deserves, but every time someone celebrates the XR750's legacy, they are really celebrating the machine that came first. Number 4. Harley-Davidson WLA The Liberator 1942, the motorcycle that helped win World War II. Few motorcycles have carried as much historical weight as the Harley-Davidson WLA. Nicknamed the Liberator, these bikes were ridden by Allied troops liberating occupied Europe during World War II, earning their name from the towns and villages they helped free from German occupation. Harley-Davidson began producing the WLA in 1940, before the United States officially entered the war, and production ramped up dramatically after Pearl Harbor. In total, over 90,000 WLA motorcycles were produced during the conflict. The W stood for a 45 cubic inch flathead engine, the L indicated high compression, and the A stood for Army. They were used by American, British, Canadian, and Soviet troops, with over 30,000 shipped to the Soviet Union under the Lend-Lease Act. Rugged, reliable, and unstoppable, the WLA proved that Harley-Davidson was not just a consumer product, it was a machine built for the toughest conditions on Earth. Its legacy endures to this day in museums and military commemorations around the world. The WLA did not just serve in a war, it helped define a nation's identity on 2 wheels, and the very next bike on our list would go on to define that nation's identity in a completely different way. Number 3. Harley-Davidson Model 7D 1911. The V-twin is born. Before the Model 7D, Harley-Davidson was just another motorcycle manufacturer. After it, the brand had its soul. The Model 7D, introduced in 1911, was the first Harley-Davidson to feature the iconic V-twin engine, the cornerstone of everything the company would ever build. The V-twin's distinctive sound, its deep rhythmic rumble, and its powerful performance were game changers in the early motorcycle world. This engine layout defined every Harley-Davidson big twin from 1911 through to modern machines like the Milwaukee-Eight. Without the Model 7D's V-twin, there is no Knucklehead, no Panhead, no Shovelhead. There is no Harley-Davidson as we know it. A motorcycle does not need to be the fastest to be the most important. Sometimes it just needs to be first. We are almost at the top now. Can you guess which two bikes remain? Number 2. Harley-Davidson Model 11F, 1915, the birth of the modern Harley. If the Model 7D gave Harley-Davidson its soul, the 1915 Model 11F gave it its backbone. The 11F was Harley's first model to feature a 3-speed sliding gear transmission, which transformed the company from a motorbike brand into a true motorcycle manufacturer. The innovations went far beyond the gearbox. The 11F introduced a mechanically driven oil pump, a full electrical system, a rear taillight, and a more powerful 1,000 cubic centimeters V-twin engine. For 1915, this was cutting-edge technology that set Harley-Davidson apart from every competitor on the road. Many motorcycle historians place the Model 11F at the very top of their all-time lists. It turned a backyard engineering project into a world-class motorcycle company with global ambitions. Without the Model 11F, the story of Harley-Davidson looks very different. And now, the moment you have been waiting for, our number 1 pick, the very first Harley ever made. Number 1, the 1903 Harley-Davidson Serial Number 1, the bike that started it all. You cannot talk about the greatest Harleys without starting and ending at the very beginning. The 1903 Harley-Davidson Serial Number 1 is the oldest known Harley-Davidson motorcycle in existence, currently housed in Harley-Davidson's lobby on Juneau Avenue in Milwaukee. Built by William S. Harley and Arthur Davidson, this was not technically the very first prototype, but it was the first Harley-Davidson considered ready for production. It was built without fenders and intended for racing, specifically to prove the power and reliability of its single-cylinder engine. Only 38 copies of the Model 1 were made, with a purchase price of just $200. This little machine, barely more than a bicycle with an engine attached, was the seed of what would become the most iconic motorcycle brand the world has ever known. Without Serial Number 1, none of the bikes on this list would exist. No V-Rod, no Fat Boy, no Knucklehead, no Milwaukee-Eight. Everything Harley-Davidson has ever been, and everything it will ever be, traces its roots back to a small wooden shed in Milwaukee in 1903. That is why it is number 1, not because of its horsepower, not because of its speed, but because without it, there is no story to tell. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.